Good evening, everybody, or good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I thought I'd show my video very quickly just so you can see who I am. I'm a real person. So there I am. I'm not going to show that for the entire thing. In fact, I'm going to turn it off now. So welcome, and thank you for being here. I just want to acknowledge that I know your time is valuable, and it means a lot that you've turned up to be here. It's an investment of your time, so I'm going to do my best to deliver some really great content, which is actionable, and you will get value in this hour alone. And I will provide you with an opportunity at the end of the hour to take this further if you like, but I will make sure to give you some excellent information you can go away and implement immediately. So this is called Ignite Your Inner Healer, how to free yourself from illness, pain, and medication without resorting to drugs or experiencing their side effects. My goal in this next 40 minutes or so is to give you a new kind of understanding as to what illness, quote unquote illness, and quote unquote disease actually is. And I'd like to give you a new kind of belief shift, if you will, to give you some more personal power. I want to empower you to really understand that your health is in your own hands, and your body's ability to heal is actually way greater than Western medicine has actually allowed you to believe. So my goal is you leave this presentation with a whole new perspective on what symptoms are and your body's innate ability to heal itself. You can take action immediately afterwards to heal your own body by understanding one key principle. So your body's ability to heal without drugs is greater than Western medicine has ever allowed you to believe. That's my quote. I actually kind of adapted or adopted another one, made a few changes and claimed it as mine. And I'd be okay with that, but it's such a powerful quote, and it's something I've learned to be true for the last 4 or 5 years or so now. So when you stay until the end, you will receive a free electronic version of my book, The Vitality Secret. This alone has helped people get some brilliant results, all kinds of conditions, which I'll tell you about in just a second. Please turn off distractions. Your brain is not an octopus. Multitasking is not really a thing unless you're, I don't know, an event organizer. You have lots of things to do at once. But when you do this kind of thing, multitasking just doesn't work, and your brain isn't designed to do that. And studies have shown this again and again to be ineffective. So your brain is not an octopus. So please stay tuned. This is going to be valuable. And stay focused. So what makes this different? 1 ultimate revelation, 2 aha moments, and 3 secrets for profound results. So please allow myself to introduce myself. Since 2015, I've helped people reverse a myriad of conditions relating to one main underlying cause. And by the way, that's with 0 medical training. So conditions like prediabetes and type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, arthritis and gout, migraines and brain fog, excessive body fat, obesity, low energy and fatigue, low testosterone in men, even Parkinson's symptoms in one spectacular case. That was a side effect of helping someone reverse her type 2 diabetes the holistic way. That's a way better side effect than the side effect you get with medications when you approach type 2 diabetes. So, question, you may be thinking, like this guy does, looking over the top of his glasses, Neil, you've done no medical training. How on earth can you help me achieve these kind of results? My answer is always, I can help because I haven't done the medical training. And I discovered this the hard way. So I'm about to reveal to you why I think it's a bonus that I haven't done the medical training. And it may sound weird at first, but let me explain. Before that, let me just explain my own personal struggle that I had with eczema for 3 decades. So this goes back to the age of 3 or 4, and I was always prescribed the same symptom masking treatments, or rather the same treatments that I later found out were only masking symptoms, which meant it would always come back. So there you can see eczema all over my back. This is real. It's only a few years ago, actually, after a recent flare-up when I didn't follow my own advice. So listen to what I have to say here, because sometimes I'd like to even go against what I teach. And little do I know, it comes back again. Eczema is not a disease, it's just a symptom of something. So I used to be given antibiotics when it flared up badly. These actually destroy your immune system. 70 to 80% of your immune system is located in and around the gut. So repeated use of antibiotics is really quite a bad thing. And people have come to me from all over the world telling me that they've been on antibiotics again and again and again and again, and their skin is falling apart. So please stick with me, because this is very, very powerful stuff. And of course, harmful steroid creams, of course. If you're an eczema sufferer, you'll know what I mean by these things. They appear to be working very short term because your skin appears to heal very fast. But I've actually lost pigmentation on my skin where I've used steroid creams. So doctors were intelligent, but they were missing something. I'll come on to that in just a moment. So here's my wrist on the right. This is my skin as it is now, lost pigmentation. This is using conventional treatments which cause more damage and ignore something very important. They are symptom addressing treatments only. They ignore what is going on underneath, and there are countless side effects. There's not a single drug on the market that does not come with side effects. And we live in a pill for a pill society now, where we are prescribed one drug for one symptom, and then sometime down the road, that drug will create another side effect for which another drug is then prescribed. And it's not abnormal to be on a whole cocktail of medications as we age. That is the conventional norm. It's not a biological norm, it's a conventional norm. And it's my aim to help people change their thinking on this conventional norm, because from personal experience and becoming fascinated about people reversing all of these quote unquote incurable illnesses according to Western medicine, it is just a conventional norm. That's it. The body is so much better than we are led to believe. It's an immensely powerful self-healing machine. And we just need to understand when Western medicine is useful and when it is not. So the hard way is following conventional wisdom. You follow mainstream advice. You watch the news. We look at these advertising billboards. If you're in America, ask your doctor for this drug. No, don't do that ever. This is mainstream. And if you follow the mainstream, you know which way your health's going to go, typically. So eating conventionally healthy food, there's a difference between conventionally healthy and actually healthy. Take drugs when you experience symptoms. This is what I used to do. And I discovered this the hard way. And you can see it right here all over my face. That's what my face can look like if I don't follow my own advice. So would you like the easy way that helps you to become free from illness, pain, and medication? I'm guessing the answer to that is yes, or you wouldn't be here. In the past 4 years, I've been mostly free from eczema. I didn't find a magic cream or drug. And I can't say I'm completely cured, because if I don't follow my own advice, it can come back. So I also found that the same principles could be applied to just about any common health challenge and achieve pretty extraordinary results. So the easy way is why you're here. Let me show you how I've helped people ignite their inner healer so they have become free from illness, pain, and in some cases, medication. So the easy way is 3 secrets. Secret 1, what is behind your symptoms? There is always an underlying cause, and there is always a root cause behind that underlying cause. Secret 2, why you don't know about this, and why doctors aren't screaming this from the rooftops. Discover the history behind why doctors are not trained in nutrition or how to help the body to heal. Secret 3, how to address the what, the root cause, using a 3-step system. So quick disclaimer, this won't work for everyone. Depending on your body type and your application of this material, results will vary. I cannot guarantee that you will have exactly the same results as I did, or my customers and clients. So, secret 1, what is causing your symptoms? I stumbled upon the root cause of my eczema accidentally when I was on a mission to prove my father's stroke was avoidable. It was time to switch gears, and I didn't know I was about to do this. It was a big surprise. I had no idea what I was about to uncover. So I uncovered there's an underlying cause behind almost every common illness, and I remember him being diagnosed with this symptom, this condition called chronic inflammation a few years prior to his stroke. I remember distinctly where we were standing in the family home in the kitchen, and I had no idea what this was at the time because I wasn't really that much into health and wellness and or healing as I am now. But a few years later, I decided to do some research, and little did I know that it's the root cause behind, or the underlying cause behind, just about every common and chronic health challenge that exists. So my inspiration for the book, The Vitality Secret, was actually witnessing my father suffer this avoidable stroke. And naturally, this shook him, it shook the family, and his life has never been the same since. I don't want you or anyone else to experience unnecessary suffering like this. These things are avoidable. So the transformation you can see this, for me, it went from on the left to on the right. I made some changes. I discovered what inflammation was. I made some changes physically, mentally, and emotionally, and my skin cleared up very, very quickly. And actually, a nice side effect was this: I burnt body fat very, very easily. When you switch to an anti-inflammatory diet and lifestyle, your body doesn't need to hold the fat anymore. So I went from having eczema all over my back to having no eczema at all on my upper body. I used to have it, in fact, all over my body at one point when I was late teenage years and also late 20s when I was working in London. This has actually meant that I created a program specific for eczema, actually. And this is a very popular video on YouTube with about 380,000 views now. And at one point, before Google changed their algorithm and put everyone in the holistic space at the bottom of the, this is extraordinary what's happened. Google has changed their algorithm. Google owns YouTube. They have put anyone in natural health or holistic health right at the bottom, and people in doctors and medical professionals at the top now. So it's getting even harder to find true, honest, real information. So here's just a quick look into what one of my clients has had. You can see these pictures on the left-hand side. That's severe eczema all over his hand. Just a week later, that's his hand on the top right, and after 6 weeks, bottom right-hand side. And that would have been completely better, but he did tell me he didn't follow it completely. And another testimonial on the right is, Neil, since beginning your program, I have seen an amazingly improved difference in my eczema and overall skin condition in a short amount of time. Only halfway through the program and from across the world, your support is excellent and targeted. Your wealth of knowledge is tremendous, and just listening to you share your stories and recommendations for healing has been life-changing. I feel you understand the challenges since you've had your own personal experience. You are a godsend, and I recommend anyone who has had eczema and want help discovering their underlying triggers naturally and how to get rid of it for life to take your program. I can't say thank you enough. Thanks for all you do, and don't ever stop. April, MD, USA. I won't read you out all of these. I just wanted to let you know that these same principles apply to different conditions. And Drew had type 2 diabetes. Within a matter of months, he'd reversed it. This is Harris, 71, when I was working with him. His arthritis he'd had for years, I believe about 15 years, had gone. He burnt 15 pounds of fat with ease. His sleep got better and he got lots of energy. He got his vitality back at the age of 71. This stuff works for just about every illness you can think of. It's just insane. I can't talk about viruses. I'm talking about common illness and chronic disease. So illnesses, this guy on the left, I like to think of illnesses as messengers. So this guy is like, cartoon character, big microphone, and I see illnesses as symptoms. They are symptoms indicating that change is necessary. It's time to take action. Because if we don't take action, it's almost like your warning lights in your car go off, indicating that something needs your attention. But instead of attending to whatever needs your attention, it's like smashing that light on your car. You take some drugs and then you continue to drive the car. That's what taking drugs is like. It's like smashing the warning lights in your car and driving and expecting for everything to be the same and normal. So bad idea to just take drugs. They can be, of course, life-saving. In situations, my own parents wouldn't be around today. I've got friends and family who are around today thanks to life-saving drugs, but we just need to understand when they're useful and when they're not. Asthma, common symptoms. Asthma, this is chronic inflammation of the bronchial tubes. I had a conversation with someone earlier, in fact, who's interested in my coaching, and he's been suffering from asthma for many, many years. And I explained to him that, yes, it is a chronic inflammatory health condition, and whilst the standard of care is a localized steroid inhaler and it's very effective, it doesn't address why it's there in the first place. And it's not just genetic, it's not just there for no reason. There is a reason, and there's always an underlying cause behind why there is inflammation of the bronchial tubes. You can reverse asthma. That's not the case if you follow the mainstream way of doing things. Bowel problems like IBS, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, that's all inflammation. This is a picture of an ankle that's inflamed. That's more about acute inflammation. There's a difference between acute and chronic or systemic. Acute is when it's focused on a joint where you injure yourself and it gets very painful, it swells up. Your body sends all these funky fluids to it to protect you so no further harm is done. It becomes very sensitive so you don't knock it again. and it repairs, and normally within a matter of weeks or months, the injury is repaired and you continue with life as if nothing happened. But then we've got skin conditions, which are systemic, and anything like eczema or acne or psoriasis or rosacea, all of those things are a symptom of chronic inflammation. So all of these drugs are powerful in emergencies. They do get us out of trouble. But when we use them again and again and again, they're just like a Band-Aid solution. So on the left here, we have a picture of a broken down car with smoke coming out of the engine. And on the right, there's a picture of a car in a paint shop. This is how I associate Western medicine. It's as if, let's say you've got a skin condition, and instead of going to find out what's triggering the skin condition, which is basically figuring out how the gut is becoming inflamed, which is the engine, if you like, in the human body. Instead of figuring out what's triggering the inflammation, you just take your car to a paint shop, you give it a paint job, expecting for it to be fine. That, again, is another analogy of how Western medicine works. So that is all really kind of highlighting what I now know to be a standard way of doing things. And I've become so fascinated with people reversing, quote unquote, incurable illnesses according to Western medicine that I started a podcast. Excuse me. It's called the Vitality Secret Podcast. And I interview people who reverse, quote unquote, incurable illnesses. I think it's very useful for people to know this because it instills faith and belief and power back to people. And, you know, even recently, last week, I was at a health event in LA. And I got talking with someone whose mother was on 40 medications for multiple sclerosis, which is MS. I said, check out my podcast. I've got 2 interviews with people reversing MS completely. There's no need for her to be on these medications. If Western medicine says there is no cure, what I should say is she was told that by her doctor that there is no cure for MS and she just take all these medications. I said to her that the only reason doctors say that is because it's how they're trained. So if a doctor says there is no cure for MS or lupus or Crohn's disease or whatever it is, what they mean is drugs or surgery will not cure X. That's all it is. It's just one method of learning. And there are plenty of, I don't even want to say alternative, I want to say methods. There's no alternative about this. There are methods of healing, and then there's medication. So there's health, and then there's medication. There's vitality, then there's medication. 2 different things completely. And when we go down the healing route, which is not alternative, it's healing, that's how we can reverse almost every illness known to man. But if you go down the medication route, that's when your health is generally going to go downhill because you end up being on a whole cocktail of medications. So what is inflammation? Inflammation is really your immune system protecting you. It's a very healthy immune response. If it didn't happen, you'd die. We'd all be dead by now. So it's a very, very healthy immune response. And it's as if something enters your body that your immune system doesn't recognize, and it goes into a state of defense. Again, it's a very healthy immune response. But when this happens again and again and again and again and again, this is when your body starts to create symptoms. You know, whatever you're manifesting, whatever your body shows you is kind of like where your weakest link is in your genetic code. So for me, it's skin, you know, with eczema. And it's the first thing that will happen. If I go and eat some food, for example, that I know is a trigger, I'll know almost the next day or the day after. It's very quick to tell me. For someone else, it might be high blood pressure. For someone else, it might be type 2 diabetes. For someone else, it might be migraines and brain fog and low energy. There's so many different symptoms as a result of this underlying cause. So I believe we have a bit of an inflammation epidemic. And this is really, it's quite incredible because this is kind of serving the entire drug market. Well, sorry, not entire, but the most part of drugs is for the provision and supplying people for the treatment, or rather symptoms and disease maintenance. We don't really have a healthcare system. We have a disease and symptoms maintenance system. And when people are taking these drugs, because the drugs don't heal, people end up taking these drugs until the day they die. That's how the system works. And all of these conditions that I've got listed here, cardiovascular diseases, bone, muscular and skeletal diseases, chronic inflammatory diseases, neurological diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, they're both chronic inflammation of the brain. Diabetic complications, type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, and type 1 diabetes if it's developed in life. That's an autoimmune disease, which is also inflammatory. Metabolic disorder complications and cancer. Most forms of cancer start off with chronic inflammation. So they are inflammatory conditions. So if we know this, we can take action and look after ourselves and heal our own bodies. And that's what the biggest message I want to get out there is that the body will heal almost everything. We just need to figure out how to do it. So in this diagram here, I've got a picture of my book, and the circle at the bottom is just displaying different levels of conditions. So you've got inflammation, and then right near that orange flame, you've got cancer and strokes, cardiovascular diseases. A little bit further out, slightly less, but still pretty severe, infertility, autoimmune diseases, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, high blood pressure. And then further out, you've got skin conditions, joint pains, low energy, weight gain, hormonal imbalance. So, for example, low testosterone in men, or all sorts of hormonal imbalance in women. Endometriosis, for example, migraines, pre-diabetes, digestive problems, asthma. But on the outside, you've got the slightly less severe symptoms, but I see these symptoms as purely messengers indicating that there is inflammation in the body. And it's like an invitation to discover what is causing it. And if we ignore it, then it might develop into something worse down the road. So I actually see symptoms as gifts. When it's a weird way of looking at it, but have a little think about this. If we don't address the more mild symptoms, let's say it's eczema, then we're kind of ignoring this communication from our very intelligent body saying, hey, Neil, or whatever your name is, take action, or something more severe is going to happen in a year or two down the line. And I think that's a way better way of looking at things than saying, oh, I've just got a genetic predisposition, give me some drugs. Because we all know which way our health goes as soon as you start taking drugs. So I say these symptoms are our greatest gift, and we can really benefit from that way of understanding. People who have reversed illnesses on my podcast, they say even things like multiple sclerosis and osteoporosis, various forms of cancer, people who go through it holistically come out the other side stronger. They have some kind of epiphany or some kind of spiritual awakening sometimes, and their life is elevated because they've gone on this healing journey. And it's actually a very amazing thing for people to do. That's why I love what I do, helping people transform their lives, because it's way better than just taking these drugs which just harm the body. So when we listen to our bodies, why symptoms are present, we listen to the messenger. This enables us to make changes now to prevent further harm and, of course, live a life rich in vitality. So I say, don't shoot the messenger. Illnesses are simply symptoms. They are messengers indicating change is necessary. I made this up a few months ago, and it was very, very popular on Instagram. So medications mask symptoms, allowing you to survive. In other words, it's like being on life support. It's like being on oxygen. And they put you into survival mode so you can live. So just scraping the barrel. Whereas medicine helps you to heal, allowing you to thrive. Medicine prior to 1910 was all about natural methods to heal the body from the inside out, so symptoms would naturally go away. This is a huge difference. There's a big difference between medications and medicine. And I'm about to tell you why we have this giant disparity in just a second. But the one thing I want to be clear about is most people are still of the opinion that medications are medicine, but they're not. They are purely masking symptoms. So when you get to your inflammatory root cause, you can step out of the way and allow your body to heal and ignite your inner healer. I was careful with the wording I used here, because what we often find is we stand in the way of our body's healing. The body is constantly striving to heal. It's always wanting to be in a state of balance. But what tends to happen is we do things that prevent it from healing. And that might be physical, it might be mental, it might be emotional, it might be spiritual, where we're stopping the body from doing what it's designed to do. So when we step out of the way and we find out how we're standing in the way, that's when magic happens in the body. So secret number 2, why you don't know about this and why doctors do not know about this information that I'm teaching you now. And going back to my slightly, you may have thought, confident or even arrogant remark about the reason why I'm able to help people is because I haven't gone through medical school training. Here's why. So why do you not know about this? And why didn't I know about this before? Why does my doctor know about this? So again, here's my personal struggle with eczema for 3 decades, always given the same symptom masking treatments, creams, nasty prescription moisturizers, antibiotics, which destroy the gut, the immune system, steroid creams, which destroy my pigmentation. And by the way, people have come to me from all over the world. One woman in Sydney called me saying she was covered in head to toe dermatitis. She was on several rounds of antibiotics. And she had what's called topical steroid withdrawal syndrome, which is when your skin becomes so dependent on the steroids that when you stop using it, your skin is basically constantly flaking. It's nasty. That's Western medicine's approach for skin, including dermatologists, by the way, standard conventionally trained dermatologists. In fact, she had been told that by her dermatologist that she approached me, asked for support in helping her to heal from within. Heal the gut, because when you heal the gut, you can heal your skin and just about every other symptom. And I asked her about what she'd learned during her medical school degree, because she just qualified as a newly qualified medical doctor in Sydney. And I asked her what she'd learned, and she said, well, nothing about what you're teaching, nothing about gut. And they've really been taught about medications. So I thought, okay, that's interesting. I kind of knew what the answer was going to be anyway. But then I said, what about when we work together? You share some of this stuff with your community. How cool would that be when you share with your doctor friends and dermatologists? You've just healed your skin from within, and you share that with everyone. How cool would that be? And she went, no. There's a lot of resistance in that space in Western medicine. And I said, well, it's pretty clear now. I mean, you've found this stuff. You've done some further reading. And she said, yeah, even my dermatologist told me categorically that there is no relationship between gut health and skin health. And I said, that's the same thing as being told there's no relationship between the engine in your car and your car moving. It's that clear. Like, it may sound like a bit of a joke, but it's so clear now that there's a direct link between gut health and skin health, gut health and brain health. It's everything. So I did realize that doctors are smart, but they were missing something. And you know what? I'm going to give you one more story. When I was about, maybe this is more. When I was about 14 years old, I was sat opposite my doctor in a doctor's surgery. I'd had this crazy eczema flare-up. I was infected and had these little spots all over me. And he examined me, and he went back to his computer, and he looked over his computer screen to me, and he said, are you allergic to penicillin? And I said, I don't think so. It's a type of antibiotics. And he said, would you like some more steroid cream? And I said, sure. And then, well, yes, please. And then he said, more Diprobase, this nasty moisturizer. I said, yes, please. And I just remember sitting there going, something's weird. Something's not adding up here. Again, I was about 14 or 15 years old, thinking something's up. Why is he just cross-referencing drug name with, or rather symptom with drug name? It's like he was going, right, eczema, look across to the right of the computer, penicillin or benavate. That's how I viewed their training. And this goes back to my early teens. So fast forward 20 odd years, I discovered that there's a root cause behind why doctors are trained at the way they're trained. And it all goes back to 1910 with, well, I'm about to explain, but let's just say Carnegie and Rockefeller medicine. So this is when modern medicine became a business. So it's all down to these two chaps, Carnegie and Rockefeller, steel and oil giants. Throughout the late 1800s and early 1900s, there were lots of natural approaches to medicine. And again, medicine used to help the body to heal. Medical herbalists, homeopathic doctors, naturopaths, eclectic herbal type medicines, oriental medicines. And then Carnegie and Rockefeller decided that there must be one way. Now, I must be clear, we don't know if it was of ill intent. They may have actually genuinely thought that their medication route, the drugs that they were manufacturing, they may have genuinely thought that that's a better way. So what they did is they orchestrated a genius way for there to be one way, their way, for medicine. Introducing the Flexner Report of 1910. What this did was it eliminated all competition to patent petrochemical medical education. What does that mean? Well, it meant that they had the power to influence the course material taught to doctors. So when we're talking about competition to patent petrochemical medical education, what that long term means is education about drugs that they are manufacturing. So before that, there were all of these natural approaches to medicine, and that they knew that all of that competition was going to disappear with the introduction of this Flexner report. So it meant that they had the power to influence the course material taught to doctors to make it about drugs that they were manufacturing. So donors from the Carnegie Rockefeller Foundation would sit on the boards of medical directors of medical schools, making sure they steered the course material taught to doctors. So they learned about petrochemical medicine, drugs, their drugs. So, by the way, these drugs, patent petrochemical medical education, patent's really about, I'm sure you know what a patent is, but it's an ingredient of various synthetic compounds, often derived from nature, but the ingredient list is patented and it's protected, which means that they can make a lot of money from that combination of ingredients. So what happened is all of these medical schools started to teach drug-oriented medicine. They all learned about petrochemical medicine. So Carnegie and Rockefeller began to immediately pour hundreds of millions of dollars into these medical schools that were teaching drug-intensive medicine. The American Medical Association, who were evaluating the various medical colleges, targeted and shut down the largest respected homeopathic colleges. By 1925, 10,000 herbalists were out of business. By 1940, over 1,500 chiropractors were prosecuted for practicing quackery, this new made-up term. It wasn't brand new, but it came into the kind of forefront of people's awareness around this time. And that's why even today, this term quackery is around. It's just absurd. So 22 homeopathic medical schools flourished in the 1900s, dwindled down to just 2 by 1923. And by 1950, all schools teaching homeopathy were closed. I mean, look what happened over the course of the next 40 years. In the end, if a physician did not graduate from a Flexner-approved medical school and receive an MD degree, then he or she would not find a job anywhere. And this, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll please, is why today MDs and doctors and physicians are so heavily biased towards synthetic drug therapy and know little to nothing about nutrition. Hence the pill for a pill society in which we live. This is why dermatologists know nothing about gut health in healing skin. Every drug, bar none, comes with side effects. So if you were born post-1910, and I guess you were, unless you're a tree or a tortoise watching this, the chances are that you've been disempowered around your health, that you have been conditioned to be A, victim to your illness and disease, and B, victim to the Western medication system, also known as a disease and symptoms maintenance and recurring revenue business model. It sounds quite dark and conspiracy when you say it like that, but when you really look into it, this is what's happened. And you probably don't think you have the power to heal yourself, but you do. Your body's ability to heal without drugs is greater than Western medicine has ever allowed you to believe. What's the biggest challenge? Well, it means you've got to unlearn what you have learned. Yoda was a very wise creature, and I love that little image of him. You must unlearn what you have learned. If I could teach you prior to what medicine was prior to 1910, that would be my job done, basically. We'd all understand medicine as helping the body to heal. So the final secret 3 is how to address the what, the root cause, using a 3-step system. So you now know the what. Every illness is a symptom of a root cause. Every symptom is a result of a root cause. Your symptoms are like messengers. They're intelligent messengers. Secret 2 is why. Why you don't know about this is because of corruption at the foundation of training provided to medical professionals. When you see a doctor, what I would suggest is definitely see a doctor in an emergency. Otherwise, seek solid holistic advice so you can heal your own body and not just mask symptoms with drugs, because that just allows the root cause to worsen unnoticed and cause deterioration in your body. So secret 3 is the how. Introducing Ignite Your Inner Healer, the physical, mental, and emotional pillars of vitality to heal your own body. By the way, I just want to quickly say, Western medicine can be used, of course, in the treatment of common illness and chronic disease. And if it needs to be used to keep you alive, then absolutely use it. But at the same time, look and do your own research and, speak with people like me or naturopathic doctors or functional medicine doctors and find out what's causing it. Because what happens, for example, if you've got Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, I know people who have followed the Western medical route and they've had to have part of their intestine removed. And I just wish that they'd found me first, like years beforehand, because you can reverse these conditions. So yeah, use them if you need to stay alive, and they allow you to live a good quality of life. But don't just settle for medication, because there's only one way that the health goes after you start using medication. So physical includes nutrition, fitness, lifestyle. Detoxify your body, remove inflammatory culprits. That means taking the toxins out, put the fuel in, move and strengthen, adopting mojo-enhancing lifestyle habits. Oh, just a quick one on epigenetics. You may think that if you have a genetic predisposition to getting some kind of illness, whether it's cancer or type 1 diabetes or type 2 diabetes, you may think that you're destined to get it. What they now know in the science of epigenetics is it's the environment in the body that signals the genes. It's not the genes that triggers the illness, it's the environment that signals the genes. So we, as humans and owners of our own body, need to basically pay attention to the environment that we keep within the body. And that's not just what we're eating. It's not just the toxins that we ingest or digest. And it's not just environmental toxins. It's our emotions, it's our thoughts, it's our feelings. All of this changes our biology and the environment inside the body. So what we now know is that we hold the power to override our genes in at least 95% of all illness and disease. Isn't that an incredible fact to know? That puts the power back in our hands. Only less than 5% of illnesses are a result of genes which are fully penetrant. What that means, fully penetrant, means that they're genes which are they might be classified as defective. And what that really means is in less than 5% of the whole population on the planet, they are born with defective genes. So this provides us with an immense amount of power. It puts the power back in our hands. We are no longer victim to our genes or illness. We are no longer victim to the disease and symptoms maintenance and medication system. We are the master of our genes, and we are the master of our bodies and our health and our vitality. It's time to take our power back, as corny as that sounds. So now for something completely different. Here's mini-me, and I just want to ask you the question, what's the relationship between mini-me, our cells, and our human body? I think I've given you too much information here, but I just wanted to throw that in there to give you a little break. So in reality, a cell is a biological mini-me compared to the human body, and a cell has every biological system that you have. We are made up of 50-odd trillion cells, according to Bruce Lipton, cellular biologist, remarkable, awesome human. And every single one of those cells behaves like a biological mini-me. So each one of those cells requires 4 basic fuels. And we need to think about this. And when we zoom out and look at what fuels the body at the cellular level, it actually becomes much easier to look after our own health. So, what is inflammation? If you don't recognize an ingredient, your body won't either. # inflammation. And inflammation, by the way, is also a result of emotions. What causes inflammation and symptoms? Toxins, depleted cell fuels, and the governing body, our mind. When our mind falls out of whack, if we are chronically negatively inclined, or rather, if we have chronic negative emotions, or we have chronic negative beliefs, it changes our biology. It changes the environment that signals the genes, which then impacts the health of our cells. So what does your body not recognize? Just have a think. What goes in the environment? What is in the environment that's not real? All of these things, toxins that we spray on our skin, GMOs, recombinant bovine growth hormone that's injected into cows in the US, toxic water supply in some places. We just need to think about what is not real and not have it or limit exposure to it. And when you heal your gut, you can heal your life. So here's another happy chappy. This is Mark Rayworth. So he said, under 6 weeks, under the expert guidance and teachings of Neil Cannon, my weight started off at 21 stone, 7 pounds. That's 301 pounds. My finishing weight was 18 stone and 12 pounds. That's 264 pounds. So he basically burnt about 42 pounds of fat. My arthritis is totally gone. My energy is through the roof. And one final twist was the plaque on my teeth literally falling off. I highly recommend this program. This is one of the biggest things that really kind of touched me, was my mindset is different. This is what he said. My mindset is different. The way I look at food is different. The quality of my life with my children has greatly improved. For me, it was life-changing and the best thing I've ever done. His energy, his life with his children changed. Imagine what happens with your relationships, with your family, with your children, with your loved ones, when you get your vitality back and you're not just this drained wreck because of what we are exposed to in our environment ultimately. So I hope the last hour has been useful. I've been talking for a little longer than I normally talk for, about 40 minutes. Would you agree it's been time spent well so far? I hope you do. Let's see how many of you are still here. Most of you are still here, which is brilliant. I can't cover everything you need in an hour-long webinar. Even if I had all day, I couldn't teach you what I've learned in the last 7 years. So I'd like to present you with an opportunity. It's called Ignite Your Inner Healer, an 8-week program to address the physical, mental, and emotional pillars of vitality to heal your own body. We cover the physical, we cover the mental, we cover the emotional. And again, results are not typical, and there is no guarantee of specific results, and results can vary. I'm not a qualified medical professional. This is about healing yourself. So this is an 8-week program covering those 3 pillars, and there is an additional pillar now, which is spirituality. And it used to be a surprise, and I just want to put that up ahead now because you are going to get some incredible stuff in weeks 7 and 8, which is really harnessing the power of energy. I see spirituality as energy, nothing else but energy, interconnectedness between all things, interconnectedness between all of us. We're living in very exciting times to be alive right now when science is being bridged between, or rather there's a gap being bridged between science and spirituality. The basis of spirituality has been proven. It's we are all one, entanglement. It's incredible what's happening right now. So more testimonials. We've got Joyce one on the left there. He burns another 40 pounds of fat. So nearly 3 stone. Something that really touched me again. His work is nothing short of a miracle in the grand scheme. I feel amazing. People around me are reminding me of how good I'm starting to look, and that blows me away. I didn't think I'd ever get the compliments I'm currently getting now. I'm far from the finishing line, but I thought it was mission impossible. Thank you, Neil. So yeah, lots of happy people, and I would like you to be another happy customer. So old habits die hard. You must unlearn what you have learned. We are stuffing our faces and we are starving. We are obese and we are starving. We are diabetic and we are starving. This is really about nutrition and food. People tend to be on a general scale, eating stuff that's not actually fuel, and people become malnourished. So I'd like to re-educate you about what food is. And we do have an inflammation challenge, and we know that it's the root cause of everything. So when you can reverse this underlying cause, and it's not just food, it's other forms of physical impacts, environment, internal environment, might even be your mouth. For example, mercury, root canals, cavities, that kind of stuff. We need to figure out where the toxins are coming from. And again, physical, emotional, mental, all of this added up. There needs to be harmony in the body. And when there's harmony in the body and you're aligned with your heart, ultimately, this is when the body's in balance and you shouldn't be experiencing any kind of chronic symptom. So could this really be the holy grail of health? Yes, I think it can be. I saw this written in a book I read many, many years ago. In fact, it was just before I wrote The Vitality Secret, and they referred to inflammation as being the holy grail of health, or rather reversing it as the holy grail of health. Because when you reverse it, then your symptoms go away. And guess what? No one's testing themselves for inflammation. There's one blood test that might just save your life. In fact, I'll tell you what it is. It's called high sensitivity C-reactive protein. Go and ask your doctor for that. If it's over 0, then come back to me. Get to the inflammatory root cause and ignite your inner healer. A gentle reminder, we all know what inflammation is, and now you do. I mean, most people have heard of the word, but now you actually know what it is. And you can reverse it holistically, and only holistically. You can't do this with drugs. There's no drug that you can reverse inflammation with. You might be able to have an anti-inflammatory drug, which may cause some pain to go away, but on a systemic level, repeated use of medications is actually going to, in most cases, actually trigger inflammation. So be mindful. You can't just take anti-inflammatory drugs and expect your asthma or diabetes to go away. The only way to address inflammation on a systemic level is to do it holistically. Oh, and in 2017, I received the Southern California Sustainable Business Award. That's me receiving my award from Gunnar Lovelace. He's the founder of this organic e-commerce site in America, which is massive now. And I did have another picture of Moby presenting me with an award, one of my favorites, electronic music creators. So you now have a choice to make. You can go this alone, and it might be fine for you, or I can help you with the whole process. I'll remind you of my favorite quote: your body's ability to heal without drugs is greater than Western medicine has ever allowed you to believe. So here's my program. Here's the outline: 8 weeks to ignite your inner healer with group coaching. I do have a fast action bonus when you take action now and take a private call with me. I'm going to be giving you, I'm going to be giving you a private call with me to kind of kickstart your whole 8-week process. I'd like you to go to this link, vitalitysecret.com/coaching. Ignore the price that's on there. That's for my private tuition. The investment for the 8-week program is just $500 right now. That's for 8 weeks. And that comes with a 30-day guarantee. So if you don't think you're getting results within 30 days, or you don't see the value within 30 days, then you can actually ask for a refund. In fact, you're protected by the payment system, PayPal, and you will be refunded. So I'll become your partner in health for the next 8 weeks. Like a polarity there. There's 8 weeks. It used to be 7 weeks, but I've added an 8th week on now. So go to that link, vitalitysecret.com/coaching, fill out the questionnaire, and I will get back to you within 24 hours. I do like to ask you to answer a few questions, because it is in both of our interests that I work with people who are ready to work with me. And also I want you to be happy to be working with me as well. It's a two-way thing. And I'm being quite picky with who I work with now, because there's a mindset that is required to heal your own body. And there's a certain amount of encouragement and accountability I can bring you. It's just, I do need to make sure that you're ready for the program. So if you can fill out that questionnaire, that'd be most appreciated. It won't take you longer than maybe 5 to 10 minutes to just answer a few questions. And I'll get back to you. So do go there, and again, ignore the private coaching unless you'd like private coaching. I charge $3,000 for 8 weeks, but I'm offering the group coaching for $500 for 8 weeks. So go to that link, and I look forward to hearing from you. And I hope you found that really valuable. Do share this with anyone you know and love who could use my support. And have a wonderful rest of your day or evening. Oh, my final thought, Neil's final thought. We all have an innate ability to heal our own body. We have been conditioned out of our power to heal ourselves. In fact, we have given our power away. So let's take your power back. Book a strategy call here. Go to vitalitysecret.com/coaching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And over to Q&A. Yay, most of you are still here.